In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with y'all a stock that is about to go insane tomorrow and why y'all should keep it in your watch list. We're also going to address the overall market like we always do here on this channel to get you guys ready, along with providing you guys with an update on some of the stocks that I've mentioned in the last video. Alright, y'all, let's dive right into it right off the bat. We got QQQ, the NASDAQ futures, all right? And so far, the market provided a doji, like I warned you guys about in last night's video. Whenever there's a massive move, whether it is green or red, there tend to be a doji that follows right afterwards. The question that I followed up with that comment was, how many dojis is it going to keep showing up? How long is it going to trade sideways before it continues to sell off? Like I said, again, we could continue to sell off tomorrow, or we could continue on a Wednesday. As long as the futures does not go over 17,500, as long as it just lingers in here, the bears are still in control of the overall market. Today there was some opportunity today. There was on both sides actually, but along the end the bears. We're gonna look at QQQ, right? So we have this shorting opportunity right here. The market was pretty much being kind to anybody who held any puts over the weekend, giving these individuals an opportunity to break even or to collect all of the gains that they would have made if they sold right here before going back up here, right? So there was moves on both sides, but ultimately it ended up being a doji on the daily charts. So like I said before, the bears are still in control. The gap at the bottom hasn't gotten filled yet and is right at the previous level of resistance. That line go right through it. So eventually I think it's going to fill. I'm not changing my mind on that one. I think it's going to get there. It's only a matter of how and when. All right, now let's look at the stock slash sector that is about to make an insane move tomorrow. Now that sector slash stock is Baba. All right, now we're gonna look at Baba real quick. Once again, this one, very tough stock to trade, a very tough stock to get the timing right, but so far it did something that I thought would be is something to definitely keep an eye on. What it did is throughout the last like 2 weeks, it filled the bottom gap right here at $69, the gap that it left on January 22nd. All right, it filled it and then consolidated for 3 days from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then today we had a massive push with a lot of the Chinese stocks. Baba ended up going up to $70.70. If we go on the 5-minute, there is something. It's not super clean. There is somewhat of an ascending triangle on here. I'm not a big fan of that right there. Not a big fan of it at all. All right, but the concept is still there, and I think that it can continue to go higher, not only because of what this stock is showing me right now, but because of just the overall sector. We're going to look at the Chinese stock indices, KWEB. All right, now this is how the Chinese stock indices is looking. This one had a, I guess, cleaner but really small ascending triangle on there that broke out right at 11 o'clock and kept pushing into the close. All right, but what I really want to show you is on the daily chart. If you go on the daily chart, there is an island gap reversal on there. We have the first gap, and then we have the island right here. And then we have the reversal gap, and we push all the way back up and above this candle's open. All right, this is a very bullish candlestick pattern. This whole cluster of candles, 1 2 3 4 5 6, that whole cluster, for those of you who are beginners and who are learning and how to trade and how to read the charts, that is called an island gap reversal. Do your research and we'll see multiple examples of these. The best ones are the ones that occur after massive sell-off. Those ones are the most lucrative ones. All right, but this one, I mean, this one is there, and because of how everything else is setting up in that specific sector, it's good enough for me to share it in this video. So watch it for a long, watch Baba for a long, all the way up to $74.89 right over here to take care of the upper gap at the top. All right, so that's my honest thoughts on Baba. The next one, we're gonna look at one more. There is a lot of stocks that are reporting earnings this week, so it's important to look at what to expect. This one is for the bears. All right, that one is for the bears. It's NUE. And NUE just reported earnings, and it looks like they didn't do too well. The stock has a negative reaction through earnings. And so far, what we want to see and what I want y'all to really pay close attention to, again, I've shown y'all this type of setup before. What you want to do is have an alert right here at below 178.40 cents. And the best case scenario that we want to see for the stock is for it to open up at the same price. We want it to just chill here and then open slowly at around 180. And then the first candle is the key. The first candle that looks like that with huge volume. And I'm talking about volume that is greater than 226,000 shares traded. Like y'all see at the bottom right here where I'm pointing. A big volume like that with a bright red candle would be splendid for the stock. Overall, looking at the big picture on the daily, like it's been an adoption for quite some time. So this kind of like breaks out is it disrupts his bullish momentum, that negative reaction through earnings. And there's also a gap at the bottom that hasn't been taken care of yet. It's quite tiny, but it's there. It didn't quite get completely filled the second day after it formed, but that space is still there. And looking at it now, we're going to zoom out. Looking at it now, again, we're looking for NUE to open up right here and then flush all the way down. Now, I don't know if it's going to go all the way down in one day. That would be splendid and that would be epic. And I'm sure all the bears, we want to see that. All right, but it could also take a sweet time and take several days to get down there too, which could be annoying. But again, I'm just here to show you guys the setups. So watch it for that move. Now the next one that we gotta look at for tomorrow, that one has earnings in the morning pre-markets, and this one is showing an island gap reversal, but it is a bearish one. All right, and the island has 3 candles instead of 4 candles. Again, for those of you who are beginners, this is what I'm talking about right here, the cluster of 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, we have the first gap, and then the island is made up of 3 candles right here, followed by the exhaustion gap at the bottom right here. Actually, the gap went all the way down to open at 48 and then close at 49, still leaving some space out here, similarly to what happened between the 16th and the 17th. All right, now if the reaction to this is negative, which I think it might be, because this is also another steel company just like NUE, and NUE turned out bearish. So if this one follows suit with NUE, we might see it open up at $45, right? And at soon what we want to see in the first 5 minutes is a red candle, because there is a gap to fill on the left hand side at 42 bucks. All right, so just keep that in mind. The stock is overvalued. There's some space at the bottom. Well, mildly overvalued. Let's look on here. Yeah, it's overvalued. It's overvalued, right? So there's a lot of space down here. So just keep your eyes out for that specific move. Now, a lot of you have been asking me questions about Tesla, so we gotta look at that one to end out to close this video. Last stock to discuss is Tesla. The Tesla contracts are getting super inflated, despite the fact that it went down by 3% today. Again, those contracts didn't do spectacularly well. Like they weren't up by 300% out the gates, because earnings is right around the corner and the IV is so much. Like I saw the chain, it was only up by like 50%, which I'm pretty sure is very disappointing to anybody who not disappointing. I mean, money is money, gains is gains, right? Congrats if you shorted it, but I'm sure it wasn't what the bears expected. They expected a much bigger return, and it could still be a possibility. The structure on this one is still there, and the stock is still behaving. The stock is still behaving, and the descending triangle is still there. All right, following the breakdown right here. All right, it's breaking down and it's still slowly falling. And the lowest I see this thing going, we already took care of the gap at 145, I believe. Yeah, we did. No, we didn't actually. We just kind of skipped it and went below it. Let's go on here. Let's go on a 5 minute. Let's see how. Okay, so yeah, it skipped it. It skipped it. Let's see, where's the top of the gap? The top of the gap is right at 151. Okay, now that we got that established, so first and foremost, we are here. Okay, so there's still a little bit left, just a little bit at around 146, but with this pattern right here, the lowest it can go, I would say, is 120, maybe even 115, depending on how bad the reaction will be. The reaction through earnings will be. Like I always say, holding through earnings is 150% gambling. That reaction is unpredictable. Like we see a nice clean structure, it's bearish and it's behaving and it's nice, and we think it's gonna crash all the way down to $100, right? But that reaction, literally anything can happen. Like it could spike and go up to 170 and trap a lot of bears in this region. It will be nasty, right? It could be this nasty. It could be. All right. So like I say, it's gambling to hold through earnings. So if you're gonna do it, manage your risk. But if the reaction is supposed to validate the structure, I wouldn't be surprised to see an opening at 120. My first thought, if earnings was not in the way, I would tell you guys 120, 115. So that's my honest thoughts on all of these stocks. And that is the end of the video. Do not forget to annihilate the like button. As always, remember, I make these videos from Sunday to Thursday at exactly 10 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely click on that subscribe button and click on that notification bell. That way YouTube notifies you whenever I release these videos. If you'd like to be part of a private Discord community where you can get all of this information in real time as I see them, you can find that as the first link in the description of the video below. Don't forget to follow me on social media at Paul Nguma and at Patternology Lab on Instagram and on X. And lastly, to get some free stocks with webull, you can use the third link in the description of the video below. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? This is Patternology Lab, where we trade patterns and patterns only. And I will see all of you in tomorrow night's video.